All right, lesson number 6. This lesson I learned from the Rangers. So lesson number 6 is a leader delegates. Okay, a leader basically tells people what to do, right? And part of this goes back to the martial arts lesson. The reason why I got the job with the Rangers, I wasn't, I didn't meet any of the qualifications. Okay, so they basically posted, again, I was a subcontractor, so the company that held the contract for that position, they posted something online. I said, man, that'd be kind of badass to go and like do some stuff with the Rangers. And so I looked at all the requirements. I said, I don't meet any of these requirements, okay? But what I did have is I had a bachelor's in exercise science from Bloomsburg University. Go Huskies!
Go Huskies!
And I also had, at the time, I had about 5 years, roughly, experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and mixed martial arts, which was the same combative system, essentially, that they were using in the Army and are still using up to this point right now. It's called the Modern Army Combatives Program. And so I didn't meet any of, none of the requirements of the job I met, but I still put my resume in. And at the time I was at Bucknell, and I was like, you know what, if I get it, great. If I don't get it, whatever. I got a call back from a guy named Jeremy, and he was basically my boss, he turned into my boss. He held the contract. And he said, hey, I want to fly you down to Florida. I want you to interview for this position. I said, are you kidding me? I said, of course, yeah, absolutely, let's do it. So he flew me down. Long story short, I ended up getting the job. Okay. Now, remember, a leader has to have radical acceptance. A leader has to be able to say, hey, these are the cards that are dealt to me, and this is how I'm going to do it. So I was in Fort Benning, Georgia, and he was in Norfolk. And I saw him about 5 times the entire year that I was with the Rangers. And those 5 times, it wasn't 5 weeks, okay? It was 5 times that I saw him, 5 days that I saw him come down to Fort Benning. Okay, so when I started at Fort Benning, he was there for 1 day, and he introduced me to everybody. And I don't have any idea of military at the time. It was very confusing to me. It's like, okay, wait a minute, you're a colonel, and you're a sergeant major, and you're a sergeant and lieutenant colonel. I don't know what the hell any of these ranks are. Went around, introduced me to people, and then he split. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, so I'm now the head strength and conditioning coach for these Rangers. And I'm supposed to be teaching them combatives. So the first thing that I did was I rolled. So in jiu-jitsu or mixed martial arts, it's called rolling. When you actually get on the mat and you train with somebody and you're trying to choke them out or get them to submit. I rolled with every single person that I possibly could for the first month that I was there. And there wasn't a single person that beat me. I was very good. So that's how I got their respect, right? Because I basically could choke them out or I could make them submit. And when you're dealing with a Ranger, it's very important that you get that person's respect. So that's how I got the respect. And so they taught me a very important lesson, and they taught me about delegating. And so in each, so at the 3rd Ranger Battalion, there's essentially 3 battalions, 1st Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 3rd Battalion, and then there's a Ranger Regiment. Each battalion has 3 to 4 companies, A company, B company, C company, and I think D company. Each company is broken up into platoons. Each platoon is broken up into, I believe, squads, and then each squad is broken up into teams. This is very confusing, and I probably might have gotten some of those things wrong, but basically it kind of filters down. It goes from big and then down to small. And the delegating that happened was very interesting because it would be delegating from the standpoint of, hey guys, we need to go build this structure, or we need to go accomplish this mock mission. And so as the leader of the regiment, or as the leader of the battalion, I'm going to have each company do something a little bit different, and then they're responsible for basically getting that information down to the lowest. And as the head person, I'm not actually going to engage that much in this mission. My job is to stand back and to trust that everybody is doing the job that I delegated to them. And it will go a step further Because you would see, so the Rangers are one of the only military units that are special operations that allow you to basically join or enlist right out of boot camp, right? So to be a Navy SEAL, you have to have so many years of already being in the military. But for a Ranger, most Rangers were between the age of about 18 to 21. And all the special operations community Rangers are essentially the youngest, okay? And so they were called privates, private first class, private. And you would see sergeants or whatever the case may be, and they would have these privates, and these privates would be, cleaning their house, or these privates would be working on their car, right? So basically these upper leaders would delegate these jobs to these to the lower ranking soldiers. It was super interesting to watch, and I took a little bit of advantage of it because a lot of the privates and a lot of the 18, 19, 20-year-olds did not know that I was not in the military. And when in doubt, when you're in the military, you call everybody a sergeant, okay? Because that's kind of it's kind of a safe thing to use. So if you don't know the rank of somebody, then you call them sergeant. And so I would, the gym would be cleaned a couple times a week, and they would basically just send down a bunch of rippies, which are basically young privates that are going through the Ranger process. And so they would send them down, they would clean the gym, and the gym itself was in 2 buildings, and it was massive. And so I was constantly moving things around and trying to figure out a good flow for the gym and trying to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And so these guys would come down, and rather than me carry 1,000 pounds of weight from one room to another room, I would have these guys do it. And I would be able to stand back and let these guys do it. I would delegate to them, right? So a leader needs to make sure that they are delegating. A leader should never be doing something that they can have somebody else do. And inevitably you come into that problem. Well, nobody can do it as good as I can. Nobody can do it better than me. So I have to do every job. I have to mop the gym, or I have to hang this thing up, or I have to put this machine together, right? And if you, as a leader, if you have that mentality of nobody can do a better job than me, then you are going to be your biggest limiting factor, right? Because how good a job gets done, a lot of times is irrelevant. What matters is, did the job get done, right? So as a Ranger, if their job was to go in and their job was to get these people out of this building in a hostage situation, or their job was to go and eliminate a target at this particular location, right? As long as the mission was accomplished, then that's what they were happy about. Now, if they were supposed to take out this particular target and they ended up taking out the entire building, did the target get taken out? Yep, target got taken out. Oh, by the way, there's now a gigantic crater the size of a building. Oh, that sucks. But got the target? Okay, you know what? Job's done. Could it have been done better? Sure, it could have been done better. But the job got done, right? So a leader delegates jobs that they themselves could do, but very easily for somebody else to do. And that allows the leader to focus on very high yield things that are really going to allow the growth of whatever it is that the leader, the business or in the military, the squad or the team or whatever the case may be. Pineapple.